Well, I'll tell you what they do. They wear diapers. I mean, can you imagine all these people squeezing into Times Square? And they're there since yesterday or the day before. It's amazing. And they pile in, they have to go to the bathroom on themselves because they want to see this ball drop. See, I have no desire to do that. Steve Weiner here from GetRubix.com. And you didn't think we were going to let 2024 go by without one more video, did you? Or maybe you did, because I think I told you that twice now. Whatever. This is the last one. This is really the last one. We are going to talk about the 5 New Year's resolutions that you should make for things to either change in Intune or do better in Intune, or just to stop doing altogether. Plus, you can see it on TV. So it's like, what's really the difference? They don't even have Dick Clark anymore.
GetRubix, solving for the modern workplace.
Okay, I guess we'll do this from number 5 to number 1, like lowest priority to highest priority. I don't really do countdowns, but coming in at number 5, I kind of sound like one of those like Watch Mojo or something, or one of those clickbait fake things. Maybe I got the voice for that. At number 5, we're going to be talking about apps. And the biggest thing I want everybody to stop doing is this. Stop using MSI line of business apps. There is no reason to. You can take an MSI and package it just as easily and still get all the content out of it, only you have more control. I'm going to show you. We're going to take an MSI of Google Chrome, and we're going to run the WinAppyTil, and we're just going to call that app. We're going to call that MSI. We're going to package it. Now watch what happens when we upload this as a Win32 app. See, we still get the name and the description that come out automatically. You get the version. Another thing you like from the MSIs is the install and uninstall. Well, look, that's still there. And detection as well. You can just go ahead and select MSI, and boom, you can get your detection rule as well. But you can also change it, since MSI detection rules don't always work so good. On top of that, there's way more benefits, like being able to use app dependency, having better tracking during ESP, not worrying about the MSI and the Win32s kind of conflicting with each other. So given how easy it is to just drop that MSI in, I would say there's no excuse and you need to stop doing it. Coming in at number 4 is moving group policy over and what we should change about that. So, I think the biggest thing here is don't hit the migrate button. Now, why do I say don't hit the migrate button? Well, I've been saying this all year. This is an exercise in analytics, right? We want to start fresh with new baselines, new policies. And here's the thing. There might be a lot of things in here that you might not want anymore from your current old GPOs that were built during Windows 7. So instead of that, use this as a way to analyze everything and consider starting with the Windows security baselines, right? Security baseline for Windows 10 and later. You can create the profile, Windows 11, new baseline. Go through this recommended stuff works. That's probably what everything is based on anyway, and see if it applies. 9 times out of 10, most of these do match. I mean, don't deploy this blindly, but start fresh, then get in the habit of using the settings catalog and search for specific things you need in here. So first sign in animation, we're able to just go ahead, click Windows Logon, and we see that policy, and you can set it here. So this is a much more modern way to do it. And after you've been through the security baselines and you've set your own policy, and you finally decide, hey, there are some things that InfoSec and the company is making me implement on endpoints. Well, that's when you can come in. You can, migrate only a few selected ones and say, let's just go ahead and select this one, obviously, if they're applicable. And maybe you pick 1 or 2, and then you can bring them in to make your life easier. But let's not just blindly select all and migrate everything over without thinking about it. Remember, moving to cloud native management means we want to get rid of a lot of old habits. I started talking about this in 2017, and here we are officially going to be 8 years later, and this is still a struggle. The move to cloud native management is a fresh start, starting with Windows 11, starting with autopilot, starting with enter join. Let's rethink the controls that should be on our PCs. Coming in at number 3 is a big shift we spoke about this year, and that's going to be assignments. And we're going to try to stop using groups and start moving to filters. So for this guy right here, right, we can see what we have. So this policy right here, device restrictions, is applied to 3 groups: It's applied to my zero touch AI devices, my Windows 365 cloud PCs, and whatever Intune training is, right? A better way to do that would be to figure out what those things are and apply filters. So in this case, this is my BitLocker policy. I do have it assigned to all devices, but I'm applying the autopilot devices filter. What does that mean? That is my name for any device with the enrollment profile of default M365 Corp profile. Again, what the hell does that mean? Well, that's the same thing as the devices that are in that M365 group, right? So I'm still getting the same devices, but by using the filter mechanism, you're taking advantage of the built-in virtual all devices group in Intune, so your stuff's going to deploy faster. Now, what happens if you need multiple filters? Oh, well, Steve, you can only put one filter on a policy or an app. Right, but one filter could have multiple properties. If you're kind of doing nothing between now and when you go back to work, this is a good time to work. No, I'm joking. But it's a good time to start talking about filters. So if you have a managed device filter and you want to say, I don't know, corporate office devices, and maybe this includes several groups. You can say groups with the device enrollment profile name. You could say starts with default M365. I'm also going to add cloud PCs. So that will be the device model equals cloud PC. And that's going to be an or because I'm including either or. And finally, I also want to get my zero touch devices. So the device enrollment profile name starts with zero touch. That should have been contains cloud PC. Let's preview this. I'm going to get the same devices. I'm getting things from both my Z0T, which is my M365 ones. I'm getting things from my Zero Touch AI PC set, ZTAI, and I'm getting my cloud PC, CPC. So I'm getting all those. So I can achieve the same thing just, by putting some time into the filters. Now, I know what a lot of people say, Intune's limited to 200 filters, but I mean, that's 200 filters. So if you have 200 different variations of something, we want to start thinking about consolidating. All right, number 2 and number 1 are both kind of equally important, but whatever. It's not, don't worry about that. It's a list, whatever. Number 2 is stop pretending Intune is not a security tool, or for that case, endpoint management isn't part of your overall zero trust security strategy. I see too many tenants where non-compliance is just left alone, and it doesn't mean anything because we're not taking advantage of conditional access. This is generally where security and the endpoint teams have to work together. And even this is so many conditional access policies. Are these all aware of each other? Are we understanding everything, right? Do we have some kind of vision for the end? I mean, especially when you look at all these conditional access policies, right? How many of these are reliant on a device being compliant? And should they, right? Device being hybrid joined, that's not a good method of compliance, right? Device doesn't have persistent connectivity to the domain. Hybrid joints going by the wayside. I'm not going to get into that now. Compliance. What makes your devices compliant? And with the addition a few years back of the custom compliance policy, you can literally make whatever you want, right? So custom compliance allows you to create your own essentially JSON payload to check against whatever you want on the device. So in this case, I'm looking at the actual disk for encryption. I'm looking at, is the autopilot tenant set to my tenant, along with the pre-made stuff they have in here: device health, device properties, OS version, system security. They even have Microsoft Defender for endpoint risk coming out of here. So we have to get compliance in order. Compliance and conditional access can be a very, I won't say simple, but a very streamlined process if you work with your security team and everyone agrees on a standard. Understandable that there might be different standards for different types of devices, but that's all part of kind of whiteboarding it out, getting a strong design, and having a vision, right? Once this is in place, it's a lot easier to just make those rules. If you are on a compliant device, I trust you to access A, B, and C. If you are not, maybe you're on a personal device, well, you're going to be presented with MFA or you're going to be blocked. But compliance is so important. And that's why I see conditional access fail a lot, is because folks don't spend time really defining their compliance and the impact it has on end user devices. And finally, coming in at number 1 is going to be our enrollment status page for autopilot. The enrollment status page should be maybe 5 applications maximum. You know, autopilot branding is a must. Maybe something required like Google Chrome, Office, 1 or 2 security tools, maybe your VPN client. I mean, 5, 6 apps. I see so many folks cramming in 8, 9, 10, and autopilot struggles. And then what they do is they bring this timer out to 120 minutes, or 6 hours, or whatever they feel like it should be. Folks, think about the user experience here, right? Sure, you have pre-provisioning where you can preload a bunch of apps if you want, but if you're talking about the drop ship device to end user, they're the first ones opening the box. What's their experience like? Look, give them what they need to be productive. If it's Chrome, if it's Office, right? The branding doesn't take much at all. You're just kind of customizing some stuff on the device, but let's get someone up and running. And then let's move to a model where either user specific or ancillary apps come down in the background, right? Maybe I get, Adobe Acrobat. Do I need that right away? Can I wait for it to come down? Or even better, start making more apps available to your users in the company portal, right? Put a few required during autopilot, skip the user ESP, get to the desktop, and then empower users to go get what they want. I've said this a million times this year. Users are very used to going to an app store and downloading apps. This is not a foreign concept anymore. So take advantage of it. It's going to make your life easier. The less we have to push is required, especially, any big heavy apps. A, less failure. B, user gets to the desktop faster. They're happy. Less help desk calls. All in all, it's a great thing. So if you use the enrollment status page today and it's filled with I would say if it's more than 5 or 6 apps, maybe you got a list of 20. I've seen as many as 30 or 40. Those are bad. Start slimming it down and kind of rethink your process. Everybody will thank you for it. I hope that was 5. It's very easy for me to lose track of counting there. 1, 2, 3. One of my favorite expressions I heard from someone when I was at Ignite was stop using the carrot, start using the stick. And I think that's going to be our approach for 2025. It's been long enough trying to shoehorn old practices, old technologies into modern things in Intune, trying to bring over policies, meet a lot of folks where they are. I'm not saying we're going to completely stop and say, no, you don't get anything you want, but we need to start thinking about the future. Nothing's going to change if we don't change it with modern endpoint management. So we're doing compliance. We're going to enforce conditional access. If folks aren't using app protection policies, guess what? They're not going to be getting into their mail, right? All these types of things we're going to be doing. You get these apps when you deploy an autopilot machine. You want more, use the company portal. I don't want to use the company portal. That's where the apps are. So we're going to try to take a much more proactive approach. We're going cloud native this year, cloud native management or bust. This is it, right? And I've done it with larger enterprises as well. So yes, there's more involved. I'm not saying it's a light switch, but we're going to get there. Hopefully you can commit to some of these resolutions. Maybe you want to do the normal ones like, losing weight or exercising. I know I should talk, right? Giving up something like chocolate or cheese, or I don't know. But that's officially it from us for 2024. So have a good one. Take it easy tonight, and we'll be seeing you in 2025.